beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wonder what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Times gone by, I've traded like dirt into clay. Thought my memories would end. One street over is now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning. How you doing? This is 1100 WSGI. You know what we're doing if you're a regular. This is a little thing we call One Street Over, an opportunity for us to see what's happening next door to you, down the street, wherever you might be here in Robertson County and all points beyond the counties. We cover really well Robertson County with the terrestrial signal and the counties surrounding us, but via the internet, we are just, it's so cool. We have people that check in from all over sometimes on the interwebs, and that's a lot of fun to see people kind of chime in on Facebook. So we encourage you to do that. I will tell you, if you're on the WSGI Facebook page, you're going to see a constant image of our guest, because for some reason the main room camera is just not working. So that's not a problem. If people have been messaging me going, oh, you need to switch the camera, it's like, no, it's not working. So if you're on the WSGI side of the social media, then you're going to see a lovely shot of our guest Danavyn Hylton, and David Walker is on his way in at 7:30. And so welcome, my friend. Welcome to the program. I do have to start. If you've been on social media, you've seen that Malika lost her precious mom very suddenly. And I am so sorry. And I lost my dad very suddenly. He was in his 70s. Her mom's in her 60s, so about 10 years younger than my dad. And we were devastated because he was fine one minute and then just gone. And, things happen. And like you said, you don't really know what happened. But it could have been stroke, aneurysm, could have been anything. And I had a dear friend lose a young son in his 20s.
Working a morning or afternoon only schedule, and everything in between.
And it's
many stay-at-home moms and teachers have discovered the bonus of earning excellent extra income.
Which is, anybody's had to watch a loved one go through an extended illness. It's easier on them, but oh my goodness, it's devastating for the ones that they because you just don't get that closure. So, covering you guys in prayer. I know the boys have got to be just heartbroken. And you got 3 kids. And, Malika's mom passed very suddenly, and so just be praying over that family. And as they navigate the Flowers of Lincoln Memorials this weekend, correct? Okay, where is that happening?
Call 615-384-4555.
Saturday.
That's www.rcstn.net or call 615-384-4555.
Yeah, and anybody that knows your story knows that when you guys came to town, she welcomed you. She said, "Come on in," and took care of you. Let you guys come in. you will people, he'll describe himself, I was homeless, and, they took me in as Malika's boyfriend, and like, who is this guy? So she's that kind of person, and so when you have somebody that has that gift of hospitality, which is what we've been called as Christians to first and foremost, that gift of hospitality, oh, what a loss. I'm just so sorry, so sorry. And quite the personality is what she seemed to be. I don't think I ever met her. I met your mom, but I have not met Malika's mom. You always think there's time. I know that was the thing with my dad. We were like, well, we've got time to do that. And so it's, so God bless y'all. And I know that's going to be a tough week. It's a tough week for you guys. So we'll be covering you guys in prayer, and tell them again where that memorial is. Somebody can possibly make it.
United Missionary Baptist Church, 600 Rebels Drive, 37207.
Okay, what time?
Great question. That starts at 11 a.m.
Okay, are they going to have like a visitation and then the memorial, or?
Really,
yeah.
Still in the air based upon policies and respectfully.
Oh, I got you. So whatever they'll do. Okay. Well, we just, again, be praying for this family. Y'all know Danavyn and Malika very well because they've been coming on the show now a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years. How long is it? Has it been that long?
It's 3 years next.
Really? I got to figure out how long I've been doing this show because honestly, it just kind of blurs.
Maybe 2. Let me double check, but I'm thinking.
You may be right, and that just doesn't seem possible, but I think you're probably right. Time just flies. I mean, I'm just about to finish my first year of school, of teaching, and this time last year, my head was still spinning where they had just hired me into the school system, and I was still trying to go, and yeah, and so wow, I mean that's crazy. I think you're right. It's probably been 3 years. That's nuts. And Donovan's been so gracious to come in here, and he brings in cool people. We've got David Walker coming in at 7:30. Who is David?
David Walker is a community leader. He works for the county as well. And he's also a board member for a flag football league sanctioned by the NFL that started in Robertson County this August.
Fun. Can't wait to talk to him. That'll be a great time. So that's going to be a fun conversation at 7:30. But we've got a half hour here. What have you got on your mind this morning, young man?
Well, I want to do a small devotional.
Like that. Do that. You go.
Ezekiel 22, verse 30. Simply because with the passing of my mother-in-law, a lot has shifted. One of my tears, a lot has shifted. So mentally, a lot of shifted there as well, respectfully. Simply because on my wife's side, I am now the eldest man. And really the eldest because I'm a few months older than my wife. And so we're still learning and growing. And respectfully, we are a sustainable family. And not only did my mother-in-law allow me to move in with her unhoused, and that was by choice, respect to my biological mom. I wanted to go through life, and that was by choice, but I was unhoused. Malika's mom allowed me to move in, who recently passed away, and her older sister, it was her house, who allowed me to stay at her house, and she's already passed away a few years ago. And so the two women had grandchildren and daughters. At the time when I met them, they were 8, 9, and 11. They're now 30, 27. They have children themselves. And respectfully, I've shown them through grace, just an example of a godly man, husband, father. And so with that male energy or masculinity from the women, because they had to be both, respectfully, with that gone. And these women are grown, they can handle it, but they're still babies, and they have babies. And so, for example, my niece, my great niece, I was 5 years old, said, well, Uncle D, you're not my uncle anymore. This is after the past. She said, you're not my uncle anymore. And I said, well, what do you mean? You're now my grandfather. And if that to me just, and
wow,
just a 5-year-old.
Wow.
And she's known me all her life, and the only male. So it's just shifted my mindset.
Wow.
And
out of the mouths of babes.
Yeah. It's
wow.
a lot. And then we're just that figure now as far as the family, my wife and I want to be able to support her as much. So whatever she is being asked of, I'm going to, if I can't do all the work for her, and she could just be the advisor or whatever she does with the family. But that's where we are with that. And so for that, I wanted to read Ezekiel 2230, standing in the gap.
Okay.
And just come to my heart, and with graduation for a lot of people of all ages this month, this is a very significant moment as far as respectfully passing through life and dying, and well as getting your life started, and what is standing in the gap and how does that help your life? And then also the three, forgot the words, but the three when it comes to get your education, make sure you don't get pregnant, and you're finding a good job and a career.
Yeah.
The three.
It's the for heaven's
I call it
sakes.
3 elements, but
If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you. It is. I'll look it up. I'll look it up. It's with decisions, choices, and options, and it's the success sequence. I think is what they call it.
That's stuck to
I
my
think
heart.
it's the success sequence is what they refer to it. But that's get you graduate high school, wait until I think till you're married to have kids, and go to work. And I'll go find it. Hang on, I'll go find it. But you go ahead with your devotional, and I'll look for this while you're doing that.
So this is from the New International Version. I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it. But I found no one. And I'll read that one more time. I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it. But I found no one. What does that mean to you, first of all, U-Turn? There's no right or wrong. And we're just stimulating minds here. And does there anything jump out to you on that?
Well, it is basically that we've all got to stand up and stand in the role of what's put before us. We've got to be willing to stand up in the gap, because if he's looking for somebody and then you say no, then he's going to go on to the next person.
Absolutely.
He's going to keep looking until he finds that person. And so you may miss out on something that he has called you to because you're not willing to stand up and stand in the gap and be the grandfather.
That's why I asked. Well said, U-Turn. Thank you.
Love what your little niece said. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Wow, that is amazing. It is the success sequence is what it's called. Graduate from high school, start working full time, get married, and have children after 21. So, and it's telling students what they do is they go into the school, and instead of teaching them about safe sex and all these kind of things, decisions, choices, and options, says, you know what? What if I could give you a pathway to only having how many want to live in poverty? Of course, nobody raises their hands. How many want to live in poverty? Nobody raises hands. What if I could give you a plan that would give you only a 9% chance of living in poverty? So if you'll do these 3 things, there's only a 9% chance you're going to end up in poverty. Number 1, graduate from high school. Number 2, go to work. Go to work. And then number 3, get married and have kids after you're 21. If you'll do those 3 things, you will only have a 9% chance of living in poverty. You talk about getting some people's attention.
Absolutely.
That gets their attention.
Absolutely.
That gets their attention. But I tell you, what you have on you right now, God bless you. And just again, your nieces, you're not my uncle, you're now my grandfather. Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing. I mean, a 5-year-old coming up with that, wow. That's amazing.
I understand the impact.
Yeah.
And where she was coming from. And it will probably never leave my mind.
Oh, no. That's something you write on your wall.
Right on your wall. I'm so honored.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
she's saying, hey, we're going through life. I'm not quite sure, but I know my Uncle D, who's now my grandfather, is going to make sure that we get through this together.
You're the patriarch, that's it. You had matriarchs in your family that filled both the matriarchal and the patriarchal role. They had to.
They had to.
And so now that they're gone, they've got a patriarch.
And
they've got the matriarch, and you've got the team. Absolutely. That's the way God intended it. That's the way God intended it. Let's just be real.
Absolutely.
And so often you have to adjust God's plan. Oh my goodness, don't we? Because of the situation you're in, and you just don't have those assigned roles. But the way He set it aside is a man and a woman. They leave their families, cleave to each other. They have children. And that's the way it goes. And you have the patriarch is the leader of the family. That's what God wanted. And that you've been able to step into that role. God bless you. That is wonderful.
I take it very seriously.
But yeah, I know you do. I know you do. We're going to pause. And it took us 15 minutes to say hi. That's how we are. We're going to pause for a minute. We're going to talk about Veterans Motorplex. Get yourself out to the races this weekend, you guys. Saturdays through October, and sometimes they try to extend into November last year because rain delays and things like that. But typically they go through October, and it's every Saturday. And if rain happens, they can get rained out. The best way to stay up to date on everything that's happening at Veterans Motorplex is to go to social media, find Highland Rim Speedway. Highland Rim Speedway is the original name. They kept the Facebook page because they had a whole lot of followers. They didn't see any reason to remake it. And so, but you'll see there, you'll know you're at the right place. It says Veterans Motorplex right across the banner. And it will give you all details about upcoming races. They talk about the things they're going to be talking about on their, they have a Thursday night video post that they put up, a little show they put up that's so well done. They do this absolutely perfectly, and they start at 7:30, and you can get all the talk about what's going on in the racing world and what they have planned for that weekend. Gates open on Saturday at 4 o'clock. $40 ticket will get 8 people in. That's 6 kids and 2 adults. They're at 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. Call them at 615-643-8725, 643-8725. One of our full-time sponsors back on the schedule here with one street over. When you get by there, let them know you turned century. Danavyn Hylton is in the house. What else would you like to talk about, my friend?
I just want to expound on that success sequence.
Okay.
A little bit. So as I'm listening, you mentioned as students. You mentioned your students, but
right.
in life we're all students, and so that success sequence, and again, so important for those that are graduating, just for all of us.
Yes,
that's the work aspect. What I would say, the physical, making sure that you are getting your education, you're making sure that you get married, have children, and then making sure you're pursuing your career. But the feeling that, as you said, filling the role that God has placed before you, and actually being aware and building a relationship with God, having that relationship and trusting, that's actually the faith side. Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to give another example of, was it faith without works is dead? I believe is what they said, is what it said. But ultimately, those two things are very important if you're looking to have a sustainable life. And right now, I just really want to pour into the young folks. It's very important. And going into that, I'm just going to finish this devotional. And if we're not familiar with the building up the wall, I believe back in those days there were walls that were forts that would protect a town, city, or village, and that wall is designed, as I'm sure we know, to basically keep things separate, to basically make sure things are separate and to make sure things are protected. Mm-hmm. And so if there's a part of the wall that is not there and not standing, then that's the gap, where someone can literally just walk through. And so I believe in this verse here, God needed someone to, I guess, physically stand in the gap of the wall to protect, that section, so that no one invaded, for one. But at the same time, that wall can be seen as far as there might be a gap in your life, in my life, that we need to make sure that we're standing and filling, and there may be a gap that you're called to do in your life that you have to stand and fill. And it's very important. I know we want to doubt and maybe not want to do that, but if you're looking to have that 9% life or chance of not being in poverty or higher, and poverty not just physically and financially, but also mentally and living abundantly, very, very important for you to walk in that faith. I mean, my story alone can speak for the testimony. And I'm not perfect and things aren't where there's, where I would, but at the end of the day, I wake up every day so fortunate to have a physical mind or a mental mindset of saying, Father, what are we going to do today? What is your will? How are we going to do it? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the mindset. And every time there's needs and opportunities that need to be filled. And that's how you and I connected, and just different opportunities. And so don't ever think that, the way that you're experiencing life is the way that it's supposed to be. If you don't have a relationship with your Father, with the Most High, if you don't have that working relationship and actually trust and walk in that, not only are you limiting your life, but you're also limiting the lives of those around you that God has trusted you to help build up in grace through him at the end of the day. And I just want to make sure that we are just clear on that, U-turn. That's just where my mindset is at the moment.
Wow. Well, and I mean, it's because of, you've had this impact, this tragedy in your family, and it just takes you those places sometimes. There's we always look at the verse where it says, all things will work for good for those who love the Lord. And a lot of the times people say, well, we got to find the good in this. We got to find the good in this. No, some things just aren't good. But he will use all things to work for good. It's the work for good part that we miss. And we want to try to find good, and some things just aren't. And losing loved ones is, the top of that list. And I just admire you so much for your wisdom on this, and I love your willingness to stand in the gap for your family.
Thank you. I was there when Malik almost passed away respectfully a few months ago in November. So that at the end of the day just changed my whole mindset. And so respectfully, this experience just helped bring a little bit of reality to me, and not doom and gloom, but the realities of situations and what we're here to do. What we're here to do on this unexpected timeline.
You better believe it.
At the end of the day, and did you leave it all out there and do your work? That's all that matters.
Yep.
Were
you faithful? Were you faithful today?
Exactly.
Are you faithful today in everything that he gives you?
We can. You can. So
I love what you said too, as we were, you were asking about the success sequence, and you kind of brought it back to, but all of that's well and good, but if you don't have your faith, then you truly have nothing. And that's the one thing. I'll get into conversations with my students, and of course I can't, preach to them like I would in in church. But it's not lost on them that even the people who look so successful and they have all the things are not always happy.
Yep.
And they know there's a piece missing, and they're searching for it. And we've just got to, when people are knocking and when people are looking, we got to always be ready.
Absolutely.
To give a reason for the hope that we have, but in gentleness and respect. So
Absolutely.
Love it, brother. Yeah. Excellent stuff. Do you have anything else on your mind that you want to cover before we go down any other rabbit holes that you bring? Because we've got a guest coming in. David Walker's coming in, a community leader, going to talk about this flag football team that they're going to be bringing into Springfield. So that's going to be wonderful. I'm going to be interested in talking to him. He'll be here at 7:30. What have you been up to lately? I mean, this is, of course, taking over your life, the loss of Malika's mom. But are you umpiring and doing all those things again this year?
I'm thinking, what am I up to?
Are you umpiring?
I am umpiring. Actually, I had a game last night. Everything's a blur.
Yeah, of course
umpiring,
it is.
That's the experience.
Yeah.
For one, we just completed the USA Kickboxing National Championships in Nashville this past weekend. There's talks of having another kickboxing competition here in Springfield at the center for Robertson County. But
we did one of those, right?
We did.
It's been a couple of years,
yes,
right?
Yep, yeah. It has. And but people have been reaching out, just asking when are we going to do something like that. And so that's there. And I want to shout out Jarvis Turnley, our friend. Actually, when we talk about the Flag Football League coming up, Jarvis was the one that reached out to me to connect with Randall, who's the vice president. Forgive me, Randall, I forgot your last name at the moment. Randall, who's the vice president of the Football League. And they talked about the great work they're doing. And so unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it. And come to find out, Coach David Walker is on the board. And Coach David Walker and I have great experience. He actually was the basketball coach for my oldest son this year, who just won the championship.
Nice.
And I don't want to give too much.
Sure. We'll let him talk about it when he gets here.
He and I have some good relationships as far as baseball. He's a coach and a basketball coach, and so we've had some great experiences on the court because he knows what he's talking about. I may not make the best call. People say don't say.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do y'all do when you call something he doesn't like?
Oh man.
Listen, I've got to tell you something, guys. Be nice to your umpires, your referees. Come on. They're kids. And I have experienced, because we're going to baseball games with my grandson. And, oh, my goodness. There's some knuckleheads out there. And I've had to watch a few knuckleheads, and it just is no fun. And it's embarrassing, and it's not good for the kids. And, it's come on. It's a ball game. Lighten up.
Exactly. And one thing I've learned, you turn over the 3 years of umpiring baseball and basketball, is for me, I do not engage back. I don't.
You just
so
have
the
to
coach-
ignore it. Yeah.
And one of the bigger reasons is because we're all adults and we have to see each other in the community as we're
Yes.
walking, and just
Good point.
and so there's times where I just sit there and say, I'm glad I didn't say anything because we're with our families. It's not about, so, but when you're in the heat of the moment, it gets passionate, and
What do you do though when one gets right up on the fence and is just screaming at you? Do you just keep ignoring them?
great question. I've never had to
'Cause
actually
I've
throw anybody
seen
out.
that.
I've given technical fouls. This is my first year this past season, giving technical fouls. But what I usually try to do is I'll stop the game, my time. I'll say my time, or and then I'll go to the coach. Coach, I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. Exercise your rights, but at the same time, there's certain things that we can't tolerate in the gym for the kids' sake. So please don't do that. Or if it's a curse, I have to automatically call it. But if it's something where it's building up, coach, we're setting an example for the kids. They may not want to hear it. I understand, and I'll get back out there. And I haven't had to eject anyone, but I have given out a few texts.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people, the other refs, they'll get out there and maybe get back with them and bring the same energy or throw them out real quick. So I try to.
Yeah, you try to take the high road. Take the high road. Well, good for you. I know I have not had this conversation with Jamie Nixon, who, of course, is all things East Robertson, but there was a baseball game a few weeks ago where the entire crowd was ejected. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
It was a high school game.
I believe it.
And it was in the paper, and I've not really dug into that. I've looked at the story a little bit, and I kind of want to ask the guys about it, but I don't want to talk about it if they don't want to talk about it. But I'm curious as to exactly really what went down, because that was bizarre. And you got to behave yourselves. But I think about you when I see these. Is it an umpire in the baseball and a referee on the basketball?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, what do they call the football? Do you know? You don't do football, do you?
I do not.
So somebody tell me. Okay, so we have umpires on the baseball field, referees on the basketball court. What do you have on the football field? And like soccer, and come on in here, David. Come on in here, my friend. Okay, let me go ahead and let y'all get set. I'm going to go ahead and do a break. We got our guest coming on in here. Maybe he can help us answer those questions about umpires, referees, and all the names. I'm going to take just a quick break real quick, and we're going to talk about our friends Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. This is a big weekend for Corbin Creek. It is the Customer Appreciation Day on Saturday. And we want to make sure that you get out and go and see them Saturday. They're going to have the feed mill trucks going to be out there at 10 o'clock. They're going to have free hot dogs all day. They've got a planting station for the kids. Planting station. I'm not saying that well. I'm saying it with a southern drawl. But a planting station for the kids so you can fix up something beautiful for mom or grandma. You can get a hanging basket. Get something beautiful. Make sure you go into the gift shop there. That office that the people think that's just, their office. No. It's a gift store. You can go in and get something beautiful handmade from Miss Jane. Get a couple of pot holders to go with one of those plants, or one of those bowl cozies that you put in the microwave to keep you from burning yourself when you pull your stuff out of the microwave. Pick up some CBD products. I take that stuff for my arthritis, and I'm stunned at how much it helps me, guys. Arthritis is a thing, and if you know what I'm talking about, for any kind of inflammation issues, CBD may help you, and they've got Robertson County CBD. Go and talk to them about it today. Customer Appreciation Weekend Saturday. Get out there and be sure and tell them U-Turn sent you. Coach David Walker is in the house. Pull that microphone up to you, sir. How are you doing? We're doing great. Welcome. He looks like, he's got the height like my kids do. I feel at home. How tall are you?
6'5".
Okay, put right on that microphone.
6'5".
6'5". See, that's just it. I've got my husband. He was originally 6'8". I'll just caution you as you get older. You say he had hip replacements and all that kind of stuff. So he's about 6'6" now. Then I got one 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", somewhere in there, and then my twins are about 6'3". So you're my kinsman, my brother, and I'm 6'1", so I just loved. You're tall too, but yeah, when he walked through the door, I'm like, "This is my people." I love it. My brother, bless his heart, he's 6'8", and people are constantly, "How tall are you?" And he can be a little bit of a smart aleck. He gets tired. Do you ever get tired of that?
Every time, but it's always helpful when you're in a grocery store and you see people that tries to reach the top shelf and can't get it, and you can accommodate them. So
yeah, I have people coming to me all the time too, and you just, I as you get older, you just really enjoy it more because you're like, it's strength. But anyway, welcome to the show. Absolutely, we're so thrilled that you're here. We've got another microphone here. What am I doing? We can toss this around here. I wasn't seeing what was going on there.
Me and Donovan are
Okay.
real cool, but I was like, we got to share the mic together.
No. And I apologize, but I tend to be very easily distracted. So if I'm looking out the window, I forget all kinds of things. But anyway, welcome. So flag football, explain to me what's going on with this. And he says it's sanctioned by the NFL. What?
It's sanctioned by the NFL, and it's a big thing that's going on across the U.S.
Okay.
So it's going on in Sumner County. I think Hendersonville has a league. Gallatin has a league. I mean, they scattered out all through the United States. Joe Ellis, and I don't know if y'all familiar with Joe Ellis, but, he thought about the idea, and he just started molding and putting things together as far as the board to want to bring the flag football to Robertson County, not just for Springfield, but for the whole county. So when they presented it to me, I think I had just got done playing a game with Donovan's son, and then they was meeting up at the small town startup building.
Oh, yeah.
So I ran up there, and they was like, do you want to be a part of the board? And I was just like, well, let me hear what you got going. And then I was like, oh, man, that's great. Yeah, I'll be a part of it. So it's it's for the kids and for the community alone, so it's a great opportunity for people like Donovan. I'm not trying to recruit him to be a part of something in the community to give back to the kids, because we trying to start something with like the mentoring thing, the aspect of it. So,
well, and if and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is the reason why we're giving this as an option is there's a lot of parents, man, I don't want my kids hitting on each other that early. It's
exactly.
And I think from an NFL perspective, they're thinking, well, maybe this will expose the game to a bigger pool for us to bring up through the ranks, and more people exposed to football that didn't look at it because they think it's too impactful for young kids. And my kids played when they were really young, and I had one play through college, and my husband played through college. So I get it. I get the boom, because I know what it did to their bodies, and from a very early age. So if I had this option, looking back, I'm way beyond this now, but as I'm looking at my grandson, I could see them opting for the flag football option rather than the full impact football option early on, just because they're kids and you don't necessarily. My youngest, he's 6'9". I mean, he's huge. When we had him playing against the little kids, he was twice their size. And one of the reasons why he did not pursue football outside of a real youthful league, he was afraid he was going to hurt somebody. Pure, plain and simple. So this fixes that so that they can maybe, this is my understanding of it. This fixes that so they can learn the game. And then when they're ready to go full pads, full thing, it's later on. Would that be fair?
Ideal, I think it's safe to say.
Okay.
Me, thinking about it, and I got two young boys that will probably play in it as well, but it's just me thinking about, like, I can handle a bump and a bruise or maybe a twisted ankle, but when it comes to your brain, as a young kid, then you want to at least give that brain an opportunity to develop.
Yes.
So if you start the impact at a young age, then, if you make it to the NFL or, high school career, college career, you never know what side effects and stuff that you may start happening from that early impact. So I think that a lot of parents are liking the idea just because it's no contact. It's the only thing you have to do is just run and pull a flag, and but you still understanding the concept of it, but it's no contact at all.
So what will it not be with pads and all that? And so no pads. It'll be just
you got a jersey, flag, shorts.
Yeah.
If it turn cold, you might put on sweatpants.
Yeah.
And cleats.
Okay. So you don't have the necessity of the helmet. That keeps the cost down right there. That you don't have to have all this gear, because trust me, that stuff's expensive. I've bought it for years and years and years, and so you got that reduces the cost. And again, just the fact that you're not having that impact on those young kids, because my kids had massive injuries. I had one break a wrist in junior high. I had the one that I told you, just the big guy that just chose not to play because he was afraid he was going to hurt somebody, actually messed up his ACL in middle school. I mean, early on because of the impact. And because he was a big guy, people just wanted to pile on him too, and they would just. So I get it. Yeah. I get this. So unpack the details. When are you going to start this up? What's going on with it?
So we having our first big opening day registration is May the 20th.
Wow.
We're going to be Deja Moose. They're one of the sponsors.
Okay.
The first 50 kids get a free scoop of ice cream that
Nice.
signs up. And the registration is going to go from May the 20th to June the 30th. Mm-hmm. But it's numerous of ways to where a family can sign their child up.
Okay.
So one of the ways you can go to rcflagtn.com, in which we will say that address probably at the end end of the show. We just opened up an office in the small town startup building. So
Lisa Arnold's.
Yeah. So we got an office there to where we wanted to have a central location for families to be able to come in, sit down, and sign their kids up. So like I said, the board that's working, I mean, we've been putting in a lot of hours just to try to make sure that this is ran smoothly and making sure that it's going to be ran correctly. So I'm excited. I just want people in the county to be excited for it because, like I said, we're putting in a lot of work, and a lot of the sponsorships that's coming in is just like overwhelming, and the people that's donating and sponsoring, they have to believe in something that's going to happen. Because a lot of people just don't throw money around unless they believe in something good is going to come out of it.
You bet. Now, because you have to think about, you got to have scheduled time on the fields.
Yeah.
So you got to get with Terry Martin. With
Yes, we already.
Rec. So is he involved?
Terry.
Seems like he mentioned this to me.
Yeah.
I can't remember. We talk about a lot of
City
stuff,
manager Ryan Martin,
Yeah.
Terry. So they all have been very helpful. So we're going to utilize Martin Luther King Field.
Okay.
And, they given us access to 3 fields behind the splash pad. So we excited to be partnership with the city because the city see that this is something that's needed in our county. So so they're excited. I talked to Terry yesterday at the Kiwanis meeting, and, he was just still talking about how excited he is for the flag football. So
Will this be... Because now, I don't know that, have they had a junior league, full pads, full football league? Is there still one?
Still one.
And that's going to be, when will that, is that going to be a different season?
No, it's going to run the same time.
Okay.
So, and it might be sometimes to where our flag football is going on the same time they having a home football game at Martin Luther King.
Okay.
But I think with the additional parking that they have added to Martin Luther King, I don't think that will be a big of an issue.
Okay.
Because I think if it was, then Terry and them would have been like, I don't think that will work.
Okay.
So, and we also are planning on doing a spring league as well. So we're going to do fall and spring.
Okay.
So with the spring, we'll have access to the upper fields, upper soccer fields when you pull into Martin Luther King.
Okay.
Because I think during the fall, I think they have soccer going on.
So are you signing up in May? Because we're coming up on summer. So this is for the fall league.
Yeah, this is for the fall league.
For the fall.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
when will the games start?
August the 26th is our initial start date.
August 26th. So we'll be back in school.
Yes.
And they'll be getting going. So this is something you can sign up for. You're not having to commit your summer to it. It'll come in just as we get back into the school schedule, and you can get in. So do you have kind of an idea of when they'll practice? Is it going to be up to, how many teams are you looking to form, or is it just going to really depend on how many sign up?
It's going to depend on how many kids that we have sign up.
Okay.
Because we having, like I said, the age group is from 5 to 17. So we're going to have a 5U. I think it's like an 8U. I think it's going to go up to like a 14U, to where it's going to be 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds in one. So it just depends on how many kids that we have signing up, to where that's going to dictate everything else.
Okay, that sounds great. We're talking with David Walker, Coach David Walker, and Danavyn Hylton in the house here for One Street Over. Let's pause. I'll go ahead and take another one of my breaks here, but we're talking about flag football, and this is something that I had heard about from Terry or Ryan One had mentioned it last time they were in, and I didn't really understand what they were, the whole point of it, but I get it now, especially as a parent that had my kids in football very young, and I don't know that it was always the best thing for them because they had some pretty hard hits, but It's an option for you. So we'll continue that conversation, but let's pause and talk about one of our sponsors, Cumberland Connect. If you're a Cumberland Electric customer, you know that you have an option now in internet service. And if you're like me and you were underserved for a very, very long time, I had 3.5 upload speeds. Now I have in the 600s because I got a gig. I got a gig for $80. You can do the same thing and have great internet. My kids, I talk about this all the time. They're like, Mother, you don't need a gig. That's too fast. And I ask them what they have, and they're like, we have a gig because we work from home and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, I do too, to some aspect. Even though, I'm at school and I'm a teacher, I have a lot of little side hustles I do. I'm a photographer. I do all kinds of extra things. I like to work from home a lot of the time with some of the things I have going on at school. Cumberland Connect makes it doable now. I used to come up here and steal the internet from Ebenezer Broadcasting, from ILU. I'd have to message him and say, hey, I'm going into the station to use the internet. No more. I have it at my home. And you can too. Now, say if you're needing some help financially, they have an affordable connectivity program that provides qualifying households with monthly credit to help pay for internet services. And if you're eligible, you could receive a credit of up to $30 per month toward broadband services, and they have a package that is $30 per month. There you go. You could get free internet. All you need to do is call them 1-800-987-2362, 1-800-987-2362, or go to cumberlandconnect.org, cumberlandconnect.org, put your zip code in. They may already be in your neighborhood. If not, they're coming soon. If you're a Cumberland Electric customer, always let them know that you, Tommy, sent you. Talking with David Walker, Coach David Walker, and that's a strong name. And Danavyn Hylton equals a strong name. Two wonderful young men here in our community that are doing all they can to better our community. I think that's a fair assessment. So he's calling you Coach David Walker. So what do you coach?
What don't I coach?
Uh-oh. I love it. I love it.
No, I'm heavily involved in youth sports because, like I said, I have two younger boys that keeps me busy.
Sure.
So whatever sport they play, if they decide to go play soccer, I'll be out there coaching soccer, which when one of them was 4 years old, I actually coached soccer,
There you go. You're like, sure, I can do it.
Yeah, thanks to YouTube,
Yeah, exactly. So, how do you do that?
So thanks to YouTube.
That's awesome.
No, I coach baseball, basketball, and, I've been a non-faculty member at Springfield High School for 16 years. With high school basketball. So I'm heavily involved with almost every age aspect that you can think of in the community.
Okay, so hold it. What did you do at Springfield now?
Assistant. I was just a volunteer assistant basketball coach. Yeah.
Cool. I didn't know that. So that's awesome. So are you still doing that?
Well, not right now. Not at the moment. I took the time off this year, kind of, because I didn't coach baseball to try to get more involved in the community, and that's when I started joining a lot of different boards.
Sure.
So like I said, I became a member of the Kiwanis because I like
Good for you.
the things that, that they do and the outreach that they have for the community, and then joining with the Robertson County Flag Football League. Mm-hmm. And I just, think that I'm just, one of my biggest visions is that I'm wanting to connect the dots.
Yeah.
Meaning that it's so many nonprofits, it's so many organizations that's trying to reach the kids. But like my vision is, how can we work together to make this happen? So I want to be that glue to bring organizations together to say, hey, maybe you can do this, or maybe we can do that. We can bounce off of each other, feed off of each other. Because, when you combine, at one source, it can be a powerful source. Mm-hmm. So that's my vision with it. And even with the Flag Football League, we sitting around and, and we're discussing, with me working in Robertson County Juvenile Court, I see every aspects of life, every walks of life. And every parent that comes in always say, there's nothing for our kids to do in this town. So me wanting to help every kid, what can we do? What can we do? So that's where my vision is at, is how can we provide things for our community or for our kids to do, so they all can have the opportunity to do something that they love. Right. So I might be reaching out to you one day if we start, because the flag football is supposed to start. We want them to start, umbrella part of the thing is called Next Generations. Mm-hmm. And with that vision, it's like we want to reach out and start mentoring or connecting kids with professionals to where they can sit down if they got an interest in broadcasting or radio. Like, hey, Miss Laverne, can we bring a kid in? Can you sit down and talk to them about the ins and outs? Because this helps a kid's vision. You know, so I want to try to pull everybody together to see if we can make this happen. You know, so that's one of our visions. But we are ways away right now. We're trying to focus on the flag football. I don't want to jump the gun so fast.
But I love your vision.
But you know, it's just, you know, like, and you know, I mentioned to some of the board members, like, hey, we need to, when we get these coaches, let's keep an eye out, because this is why we can recruit for mentors.
I love that. And you know, have you talked to them at United Way? Yes, Brian and Tiffany. I'll mention United Way to him because that's what they do, is connect the nonprofit dots.
Yeah,
that's what they're in the business of doing. United Way.
Yeah. Ashley Roberson. I think she's with Family Services, with Robertson County.
Yeah.
So each year they host a basketball camp, and me and her husband, or her husband and I are the coaches for that camp.
That's great.
And that's a free camp. So like I said, so I think it's a lot of people whose heart is in it to do the same thing. We just need to come together and have a sit down, like maybe a round table, to see how we can feed off of one another. You know?
Love that.
So it's just going to take, you know, people getting out in the community, networking, talking, and hey, let's set up a date to where we can sit down. I don't know if y'all familiar with the group, the nonprofit Chosen, with Clarissa Gardner.
Yeah, I think I've had something on with them for some reason. That just rings a bell, but I'm not there's the Chosen show that's on that a lot of us know, but Chosen, I don't know, for some reason that's ringing a bell with me, but if not, we need to get them on.
But they are a great nonprofit that's trying to mentor, and then they take them on field trips. They do cooking with them. So, I mean, they are really good in the community as well. So, you know, I had opportunity to speak with them at the pancake breakfast. And, you know, so it was the time that I had the vice president, Pierre Alexander. I think that's who you might have spoken with. And, you know, I took him around because he's not from here. And, you know, and when you have a person that's not from the state of Tennessee coming into your county, that's wanting to help and get involved in the community, to me, that speaks high volume for that person. So, so I had him, and I was taking him around to meet different people so we can try to connect those dots, you know. So I'm excited, you know, because it's just like, this is my first time really being heavily involved in the community from this aspect.
From the ground up.
From the ground up.
Starting an organization from the very foundation of it. So I love that. So you're from here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know Asa? I can't think of Asa's last name. The young man that had a stroke that played football.
Asa Brewer.
Is Brewer, yes.
Yeah.
And you're talking about wanting to do broadcasting. He came in here. He's doing a podcast. I love that young man.
Well, I got a secret for you. I'll go ahead and tell it on U-Turn Laverne. He's going to be, hopefully, we're going to have a vote, and he's going to be one of our board members. We're going to make him lead commissioner.
He's a great young man.
Yeah, so hopefully that once he come in and Joe Ellis, which is the president, he sent it out in a message the other day, and I said, man, it wouldn't no other person be perfect for that position but Asa.
He's awesome. That young man impressed me so much, and I got to get him back in here. I really want to sit down and talk to him some more. But he is one of my students, and, you know, told me, you need to call Asa and talk to him. And so I booked him to come on the show. And I got here, and I hadn't heard from him, and we hadn't, chit-chatted, and I was like, hey, are you still coming in this morning? I'll be right there. And was asking something about the building, and I went out there to look for his car, and I was like, I don't see your car. And he goes, oh, I'm walking. Yeah. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And this is like, guys, I mean, 7 a.m. and he was on time, 5-10 minutes early even. Walked in here, and he had to have left his house like a good 30-40 minutes earlier, because it's not just down the street like Bill Jones lives. I mean, it was in town. And I was like, what are you doing? I'm just so impressed with him. Oh, what an amazing story.
That's motivation.
I love him.
Every time I see him walking, that's not been the time that I offer Asa a ride.
Yeah.
And he refused it, but he's
had a stroke. He talked very candidly about that. Yeah. And so he has the effects. But this is a young man that played college football.
Wow. Yes.
I mean, an extraordinary athlete. And you could just, oh my gosh, and a heart for God. And wow. I mean, just an amazing young man. And yes, we've got to get him back in here just to get an update on his podcast that he's doing. And and so excited to hear he's part of that. That's cool. So where do you worship?
I say worship. I don't really go to church. I done went into a few churches.
You got
locally.
Jesus all over you, so I'm just saying,
So
I'm just saying.
yeah. I mean, I done attended Grace Baptist. Like I done bounced around to
Keep bouncing.
few,
You'll find your place.
yeah,
You'll
to
find
a
your
few different
fellowship.
churches. So
Yeah, I don't mean to put you on
Yeah,
the
no,
spot, but
you're
I mean,
fine,
you
you're
got
fine,
Jesus
you're
all
fine,
over you.
you're
So
fine, you're fine,
I mean, you
you're
can
fine.
just see, you can recognize the Spirit, So that's awesome.
Thank you.
But just a beautiful thing. You'll find it. You'll find it. I bounced around for a long time too. I've been at Madison Church of Christ now since '89 though, so I've been there a long time. But I'm affiliated up here with the Epiphany Baptist now, and
I used to go to Epiphany.
Oh,
Like
you
I said,
did?
What Evans? When David Evans?
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
pastor.
David's over at the Springfield Baptist now,
right, there's
and
the Springfield Baptist,
well,
okay.
we do the Celebrate Recovery program at Epiphany Baptist, and so I work with that one on Thursday night. I mean on Tuesday night, and then I work with the one at Madison Church of Christ on Wednesday night. So I'm full-time school teacher, but I'm still part-time in ministry working with Celebrate Recovery, and that's an amazing program if you haven't checked that out. But you bounce back over to Epiphany. You just might find something you love there. Small congregation, but wonderful people. My family is the Madison Church of Christ, but I got my crazy cousins up here at Epiphany Baptist. That's what I tell them. But and we're all family, so I just love it. Talking with Coach David Walker and talking with Danavyn Hylton, umpire, referee. When you walked in. Because he refs and umps, I said, okay, what is it on the football field? Is it a ref or an umpire? And somebody chimed in, it's a referee.
It's a referee.
It's a referee. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that's desperately needed, y'all. I know that the high school football schedule got moved to where you had to play a Thursday night game in the county because they were short on referees. So if that's something you aspire to be, if I could get my husband in shape, he'd be awesome out there because he played through college. He knows the sport as well as anybody I know. He can't keep up right now. You're gonna have to get in shape. But anyway, we're old, so we're so old. Where do you want to go next? I've got one more spot to do, but we got some time. Where do you want to go next? What have we missed here?
Well, I mean, really, I'm just honored and excited to have Coach Walker here, and I just want to really have Robertson County, as they already know, just the impact of Coach Walker, what he's done in the community, and really. So, Coach, do you have any messages that you want to share in particular that come to mind?
As far as what type of message, angle?
Well, great question. Let's do the angle of young adults.
Young adults.
And your experiences. I know you're heavily involved, not only recreationally, but you've seen some other situations. And so,
well, and tie that into what you do for a living. You just barely touched on that. I guess you know Judge Joel Perry. Okay,
yes, that's my boss.
So, I was going to say, I thought so. And I love Althea and Megan and all those guys over at Recovery. I'm on the Recovery Court board.
I've seen you at a lot of the graduations.
Yes, and I couldn't go this past. My mom's having some medical issues, so I was in Kentucky and couldn't be there. But I hated to miss the last one because I try to get to everyone, even though I'm in school now. I'll take a day off. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, what I do in the court system is, I carry a caseload. So one, I work with truant families. So any truancy that's ever referred to the court, it touches my desk.
Truancy as in for school?
School,
okay.
when kids miss school. So
keep that in mind.
So I work kind of hand in hand with the Board of Education with my role. I also carry a caseload of some delinquent, unruly juveniles. So one of the biggest things, and Miss Laverne, you in that field of work to where, we all make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody is perfect, and I think a lot of wisdom comes from mistakes, And so when kids come in, they are terrified, one, because they coming into the court and they thinking like, oh my God, what's going to happen? But, when, it's my size, and like my supervisor will tell you the best, I'll scoot down in my seat so I can see eye to eye with the kids and talk to them on their level. So I don't talk at people, I talk with people. And so when you talk with people, you get a better understanding. So with my role and what I try to do with my job is to try to understand where people are coming from, because we all have different normals, okay? Like Donovan normal is different from mine and your normal is different. So I can't sit here and automatic assume that this kid knows right from wrong because it might be his normal. It might be how his generation has raised him. But so my thing would be is, how can I get him to change his thought? How can I get him or he or she to look at this in a different angle instead of looking at it from, like you say, 30 years of being taught this way, you know? So it's just all about you got to have patience in this field. Anytime you're dealing with the community, with the kids, it requires patience and time. And you just got to have a great balance with both of those. So,
Okay.
and I get a lot of great feedback because of the way I take my approach on the juveniles. Because, like, just say, for instance, if I pick up the phone and call a family about the kid missing school, and then, it's just like, I'm a bill collector. They gonna cuss me out. Like, they giving me, and I'm like, just calm down. But sometimes I let them vent because they are frustrated, But then once I let them vent, then I say, okay, now it's my turn to talk. Or so then they'll be like, okay, I'm sorry. So then we can get somewhere. But if we both trying to go and talk over each other, we're not gonna make any progress. So, it's just over the course of the years, and I've been in that job for like 10 years, and it's like, the first year is just trying to find my way. And then once and you have that passion and that desire of helping people, then you really want to hear from the heart how that person really feels. And then that makes you think differently about this person. And then you can get somewhere. So then that's when you say, okay, well, maybe we can offer this services. Maybe we can offer that. But that's where, when this board to tie everything in, is when a kid come in and a parent say, I just wish I had something for my kid to do. And then when you look, we don't have a bowling alley. We don't have a movie theater. We don't have anything. So then it's like, golly, man, we selling our kids short. So now with a lot of stuff that's going on and trying to get involved with a lot of different things and bringing ideas to the table, like, I think that it can be a lot of hope with this county, because I think it's a lot of people out there that's willing to do what it takes to help a child out. Right. And so I think that if we connect the dots, like I said earlier, I think, a lot can be done. And like, one of my biggest angles is another angle. I said my biggest, but another angle is we got sports. I mean, you got nothing but sports in Robertson County. So let's start thinking about the kids that's into music. Let's start thinking about the kids that likes to draw. So let's create stuff for them to do. I mean, we can find a building. We can find mentors to put in these places to teach how to play a guitar or a piano or something like that. So I think we just need to start thinking about the wide range of things instead of just saying sports, because not every kid plays sports. So let's give another kid an opportunity to grow in the area to where he or she can be beneficial.
We're seeing Willow Oak, is a great partner in that regard, because they do, the arts classes and things like that. And then, man, you're a blessing to the community, young man. I swear, you are such a blessing. I love that you're in the court system with these kids. God bless you. Oh, that's wonderful. That just does my heart. That just does my heart so much good to know you're there and that somebody like you is there. Because I love these kids. I've got, we, as Judge calls them, knuckleheads. We all meet our knuckleheads, and you just want to shake them because you're like, don't miss this opportunity. You've got an amazing opportunity in front of you. Don't miss this. I'm going to come back to you for final thoughts, and we're going to have to be real quick because I've got to do a quick break. And then we're going to come back and wrap it up with Coach David Walker, and I'm sure we'll have him back in. Danavyn, thank you for bringing him in today, always. It's always so wonderful. But we need to pause and talk about my dear, dear friends, Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. I cannot say enough. Barry came out yesterday and helped me at school and found a problem that we've been trying to find for 2 months. He's brilliant. I mean, he was a vice president of a media marketing company, guys, for 17 years. He knows his stuff. Having a marketer like that at the team when it comes to a real estate deal and making sure people see your property in the best light and you have all the tools you need to make that happen, he's got it, and he does it brilliantly and beautifully. Volunteers in the community so many ways. Has helped me, I can't say again and again and again. Going to be at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival coming up in 2 weeks. It'll, but not this weekend, but the next weekend at Kilgore Park in Cross Plains. Him and Rebecca, they're from Cross Plains, have been there for 27 years. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. She's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. Great friends, great team. Barry and Rebecca Ridges with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. You want to connect with them? Go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or BUYRobertsonCounty.com, or give Becky a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Always let them know that U-Turn sent you, and we're going to quickly wrap this up. David Walker, Danavyn Hylton, finishing us up before we get into the Go Show with Lee Marie. Parting thoughts, gentlemen.
Now, before I have to get off, but I do want to say thank you to the board members, which will be Whitney Owens, Fabio Garcia, Joe Ellis, Pierre Alexander, Josh Malone, Devontae Wilson, and Justin James. Because all of those guys deserve credit because of the hard work that they are putting in behind the scenes. So I just want to thank them, and also to the sponsors of Elite Septic, New Key Realty, GSRM Law, The Depot, Premium Food, Payne Chevrolet, Valor Mortgage, Dean Oil Company, Walmart, Stewart Williams for being sponsors and donors.
Awesome.
to help us out. So like I said, I think this is something great for the community.
How did they get in touch? We were going to do that address, give that a web address again.
They can reach, the number to contact is 615-852-8798. Again, it's 615-852-8798. And if you want to reach us in the email, it's rcnflflagtn@gmail.com.
One more time.
Once again, it's rcnflflagtn@gmail.com.
God bless you. Thank you, Donovan.
Thank you.
Prayers continue for all you guys as y'all deal with the loss of Malika's mom. Love you guys. Thank you for joining us here at 1 Street Over. That is a wrap for me. But Lee Marie is on the way in with the Go Show, so don't go nowhere. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a great day.